presence.
All right, it is Wednesday. It is noonish. It is time for the live radio show, and nobody is here to listen because it's finals week and everybody's done for the semester already, except for us. We're still going.
Yeah,
we are that stubborn. Everybody else is gone, and we came in and decided we're going to keep doing a radio show because we are idiots.
I've never seen this much available parking out there.
That's the good thing about a summer show.
I drove right past 2 parking spots right on the entry, and I'm like, what the hell are those? I've never seen that before.
Wow. They just put those in? Well, this is the Life Radio Show. I'm your host, Don Smith. Sitting in this week, my guest co-host is the fabulous, the shiny Jess Cordery.
Good morning, everybody.
Okay, stop that. First guest is sitting in the studio with us already, Mr. Trace Shuttleworth. No stranger to the Life Radio Show.
Nope, this is
no stranger than the rest of us, anyway.
Exactly. This is what, my 58th time on here?
Something like that. And your shirt, that's been on there several times.
Oh, yeah.
Either that or you just have several of the same shirt.
Oh, I've got a few of them. I like to announce the fact that I used to do drugs and no longer do. I still get patted down because I enjoy it. But
so you no longer do?
No.
When did this happen?
I actually quit. I know.
Congratulations.
I didn't even take Advil.
Sorry.
Yeah, either way. I've heard it both ways.
We were talking a little bit before we went on the air about Jess's first time here because you, Trace, you were not aware that we have the remains of someone in the studio with us.
We got a dead guy in here with us. Nice.
It's not a cadaver or anything, but we do have some ashes in a little vial over there. That is a former general manager, like one of the first general managers at WWSU. Apparently, they hated this guy so much that they make him listen to all these radio shows.
There we go.
Come across the station. So poor guy in his afterlife has to listen to this
Just
crap
can't get away
all
from
the time.
Yeah, and I made the mistake of walking in here the first time, just picking it up because I acted like I owned the place. Right. And the ashes had spilled all over me where I had ash in my teeth.
Right. Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, it was really not the best way to start off my radio career here in Dayton.
Yeah, that was his first time on the show, and that's the funniest he's ever been.
Nothing kicks off a show like the ash of a dead guy in your teeth.
Yeah, that's when you know
in
you've
my
made
mouth.
It. That's when you know you've made
Not
it.
Not in a good way, huh?
It's a little salty.
But to be fair, it is in a trophy for a chili cook-off.
Yes. Oh, that's what I was admiring.
And a little vial, which looks like it might be somebody's chili powder. There's a special chili powder, which I guess it kind of is if you ate a lot of spicy food.
I thought it was seasoning.
See, now I have to look.
And it's right up there next to a box of scrap paper. So, yeah, don't open that.
Yeah, please.
Well, if you look, there are holes in the top, like you can just shake it up.
Oh, no kidding. Here, put this on your fries. It's really
like
finely ground salt.
They put this
Go
guy
ahead.
in like a salt shaker inside of a chili cook-off trophy, and they don't expect somebody to pick it up and try some.
GM Steve from 74 to 81.
Exactly.
Sweet.
He's been there a while, too.
I'm the only idiot to knock it over on himself.
I'm sure that's not true. Just the only one on my show.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, that's one of the...
Ash of Steve.
Yeah, you learn something new every time you come in here, don't you, Trace?
Always a surprise.
Yep. See, we shouldn't have told him, Jess. He might have picked it up and said, "What's this?" And then it wouldn't be just you. But
I'm barely that observant anymore.
Well, you had to put your glasses on to even see it.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
Well, so,
I can read across the room. I see we've got a new clock since I've been here last.
Yeah. We're sparing no expense.
Exactly.
We got big new, because I can look at it from the reflection in the window over there, and
sweet.
I have no idea what time
or off
it is.
Me and Jess's head, because I mean
that is true.
We lean too close together, we look like somebody's ass.
You know, yeah. I want to draw 2 little circles on the top of each of your heads. And just put my face in between and go.
It's built for speed and comfort.
Exactly. It's aerodynamic this way.
Anyway, so what's been going on? Jess, what's been happening with you?
I haven't spilled any ashes on anyone recently, including myself.
That is good.
Are you familiar with medical marijuana?
Not as familiar as I'd like to be, but yes.
Why?
Familiar with a few strains. Why do you
Have
ask?
you ever tried an edible before?
No, I have not.
Yeah. Right before
Yeah,
my
I should've
mom
known,
passed,
but-
a friend of mine got me these gummies for one of the shows, the show I did for her over in Logan.
Okay.
Because she wanted
okay,
to see, so we did a big benefit show for her. And I took her, this pack of gummies, and it's like, just do a quarter of it. Just take a quarter of it, and the show will be better. And, she was like, well, I've never done one of these before, and I'm kind of nervous about doing it. What do they do?
You gave one to your mom.
Well, I gave her the whole box of them, and said, here, just eat a quarter of one. And she's like, well, how much, you say only take a quarter, but there's like 4 of them in here. How many have you eaten? I've said, I've eaten up to 8 of them at a time. They don't do anything to me.
Yeah. All right, well, we got a call coming in. This is probably our first call-in guest. This is The Life. You're on the air.
Hey, Don. Chris Bowers. How are you?
Hey, all right. How are you doing?
Good.
Well, thanks for calling in. We're live already, so...
There we go.
Yeah, I like to surprise people by going straight onto the air with them. That way, if somebody calls up in a cussing rampage, it'll all be broadcast. So,
well, I like that.
Take that, FCC.
So take it away, cuss. Nope. So, how's it going? How are things?
Good.
Now, you're going to be performing at Wiley's this weekend.
Yeah, I'm excited. We got Friday 8 o'clock and Saturday 7:30, 9:45, and Wayne Memmett's going to be my feature. Just figured that out today, so we're excited. We're going to have a good time.
Awesome. You always find your feature out the last minute.
Well, I just never know who's going to be around, so not like the gig doesn't pay that great, so I don't want to take someone's weekend up if they could have been booked. So.
Right. So what's been going on with you? I mean, how is I guess since this is your first time on the show, what got you started in comedy, and how long ago was that? If we can ask those questions.
Well, I started comedy nine years ago.
Okay.
I've been a motivational speaker for about 20 years.
So you started comedy 29 years ago.
Well, exactly. Well, I do speak. When I speak to schools, it's funny, but about 9 years ago, I had enough stories I couldn't tell the kids anymore. They were like, well, let's do comedy now. Because, there was things that happened and jokes I wrote that, like, I couldn't say to children. So then I had to step up to the adults. So I started that about 9 years ago. But I've been on stage since, like, 96 when I got out of college. So
yeah, you started as a motivational speaker right out of college.
Yep. People always ask me, how do you become a motivational speaker? Well, you suck at sports. So while you guys were playing football and basketball, I was at student council conference with your girlfriend hanging out. And, so just started doing that right out of college and been doing that a long time. And that's my main job. And then comedy became kind of a passion. So I've just been doing that for about 9 years, having a great time. So.
Now you speak at schools. What is it that you talk about with the students? Can we get into what your what do you do to motivate them?
Well, it changes over time, but I always tell people I'm not one of those like you can do it. I'm not.
You're not a Tony Robbins.
I'm not trying to get you to do stuff. I'm trying to make you feel good about who you already are. So like I'm not you can do it. I'm more like you've probably already done it. So like. I talk about not caring what people think about you and accepting yourself as who you are and being positive instead of negative, dealing with frustration in positive ways, not getting upset when things don't go your way. Confidence is a choice. You look in the mirror, you either talk to yourself in a positive way or a negative way, and that's a choice you make in your own brain. And if you talk to yourself negatively, you'll feel bad about yourself. If you talk to yourself positively. So all these participation trophy millennials, that's my fault. But that's what I've been.
So are you proactively telling kids to talk to themselves in the mirror?
We all talk to ourselves. We all talk to ourselves in the mirror, Don. It just depends on what you say to yourself. You look in the mirror and you either go, "I'm an idiot," or you go, "Man, I was good." And so I'm saying, just feel good about yourself instead of bad about yourself. But that's a choice you make in your own brain.
So you're actively trying to get kids to not be stand-up comics.
Well, I'm trying to help their self-esteem, so that they don't feel the need to do this later in life.
How old of a guy are you?
Good.
I'm 44, so now I didn't come to comedy from pain. A lot of people came to comedy from like, they people skills. No, I've always been I was the guy that just told a bunch of funny stories at parties, and I'm like, if I just told this all at once, we could just drink instead of like me telling you the stories 15 times in a row. So, yeah, it's kind of always been that. I didn't come to comedy from pain or, whatever. I've always loved parties and bars and people. I'm not a malcontent comic. I'm not one of those guys.
No, not one of the hipster comics that has to be artistic.
Well, I'm still artistic, and I still try to be. I still try to be original. I'm just not like, I don't feel. I wasn't super popular in high school, but I don't still think of it. You know what I mean? Like I see guys that are like 45 and are still like, jocks suck, and I'm like, dude, you're 45. What do you mean, jock? There's no jocks. We're all old and gross.
They still keep a list of former classmates just in case. It's
hanging out in their basement of their parents putting lipstick on, crossing off a list.
Yeah, that guy. That guy.
Yeah, well, it was between that and comedy. So.
Yeah. And so sometimes it's both. But yeah, I mean, it's and again, everybody comes at art a different way, and that's fine with me. I'm just saying that's just not where I came from. I didn't ever, feel. I mean, I wasn't super popular in high school, but I had a really fun time in college and had a lot of friends, and we, had a blast all the time. We were just always funny, clowning around, having a good time, and that was a natural fit into comedy.
So you've mentioned like 7 times you weren't super popular in high school. Is that a hang up with you deep inside?
Hey,
no, not anymore. But I'm saying
not anymore.
I'm saying that's a big comedy thing. I just don't want to come across like I was like King Jock. I'm just saying like in comedy you see people like high school sucks, but then for some reason in their own comedy scene they recreate high school for eternity.
That's a good point there.
I thought you guys hated high school. Why are you trying to recreate it? What are we doing here, guys? Calm down.
Because now they want to be the cool kid in high school. That's
part of it. Yeah. They're like, I finally get to be the head of the clique. You guys are all a bunch of nerds.
That's like, what it is.
I thought you hated bullies. Well, I did till I could be a bully. Then it was a big set out. Now I'm a big fan.
Well, bullies only suck when you aren't one of them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Bullying's fun when you're not the one in the locker.
Yeah. Yeah, when you're a hole to the waistband and not the one having yours pulled up, it's okay.
Yeah, remember the atomic wedgies where you'd pull them up and stick them on the kid's head just all the way up?
I was watching something the other day where somebody actually died from that.
Oh.
Because they pulled the waistband up so high, it wrapped it around their head, and it choked them to death because it slipped down around their neck.
Holy cow!
Oh, that's
why I ran cross country, because after a while you just learn to run from these people.
Well, honestly though, if you die from atomic wedgie, I think you're going to be first in line at heaven, because I think you get in heaven in order in which embarrassingly you died. So, it's probably like, I got an atomic wedgie till I died. They're like, you go ahead. You deserve that.
You get to jump the line.
Yeah, you've earned this, buddy.
I choked on a chicken bone. You can go ahead of me. That's fine.
Yeah, there's all kinds of weird ways to die, and I think atomic wedgie has got to be the worst.
Yeah, that'd be close. I mean, it's probably, I mean, at least you didn't do that to yourself.
Right.
There's guys that die because they jammed stuff up places they should have jammed stuff up and got infected. That's probably worse. But, whatever. I'm not going to, get in the middle of that. But
let's keep it somewhat PG-13.
Why?
Good point.
Yeah, I tried to imply that as much as I could while painting a picture we all understand. So, and I just write comedy about. I just have conversations in the world with people, and then my brain just thinks differently than other people's brains. I just don't, and I don't really believe stuff. I don't believe common knowledge. Like I just don't buy into a lot of that stuff. So I have to see it to believe it, kind of a thing.
Yeah. That's. I think that should be a common thing, having to see it to believe it. I guess I have no faith.
So is the Earth round to you?
Yeah.
I've been in a plane, so sure, I'll give you that one.
See and believe it?
Okay. I've seen pictures from NASA. I'll buy it.
Yeah, like I always say, I know the moon landing wasn't faked because Neil Armstrong blew the line. He said, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. He was supposed to say, one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind, but he messed up. So if that had been on a sound stage somewhere, they would have gone, cut.
Yep, they would have redone.
The line is a man, you dumbass.
Well, maybe
one
maybe
small
they
step
thought
for
they could fix
line.
it in post.
Yeah.
And then the editor just dropped the ball. That's what.
Yeah, that could be. They could have screwed that up. Yeah. So, but I will say, like, I've not had a fruit or a vegetable since 1996 because I don't believe that you really need vegetables, and no one's had the guts to try not eating them and see if they die. So I'm going to be the guy that does that. I'll be 130 going, turns out it's vegetables that kill you, you idiot.
That could be. Man, I never thought about that.
Well, think about it. The biggest industry we've ever had in mankind is farming. So wouldn't it make sense that they would float this rumor that their product is the one thing that kept you alive? It's Big Pharma, man. I don't believe in Big Pharma. I think it's a carrot conspiracy. I don't do it.
Yeah. Unlike Big Pharma, this is Big Farmer. This is a whole...
Big Farmer, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pushing asparagus on us, man.
Yeah, big asparagus. Is what...
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they put it in the ground, which is free, rains on it for free. They smear poop on it, also free, and then we eat it, and we wonder why they're not... come on, man. It's a scam.
Let's go back to foraging.
Yeah, foraging. We'll just do the hunter-gatherer thing again. It'll be fine.
No gather, just hunting. I just eat meat. If it never had a face, I don't eat it.
There we go. I like that idea. The tastiest things used to have a face on them.
That is true.
I'm just
saying,
true, man. Yeah. They've been tricking us. So you don't need vegetables. It's all a lie.
I'm going to work on that.
And we didn't make gravy to put on peas. That's for sure.
I'm just going to do the all bacon diet because I think. Because nobody's ever really tried that either. So that could be the secret to eternal life.
You go.
Hey, there you go. All pork products from the rooter to the tutor. Let's eat it.
my friends are always like, oh, no vegetables. I'm going to outlive you. I'm like, maybe till there's an apocalypse. You whole food gluten-free chumps are going to die of diarrhea in the first 3 weeks of the apocalypse. I've been eating SpaghettiOs room temperature my whole life. I'm ready for some zombies. Let's do this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because that stuff's going to last forever.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because even when the big meteor hits and there's the big dust cloud and we go into a whole other, dark ages and ice age, there will still be cans of SpaghettiOs laying around.
Exactly, and Twinkies.
Spam.
Yep.
And Keith Richards.
And Keith Richards.
Yes, exactly.
Yep. Keith Richards, cockroaches, and Spam. They're the three things that will last all.
Those will last till the end of time. Keith actually died in like 1974. No one's just had the guts enough to tell him yet.
Yeah.
Right,
Dude, go lay down.
That'd be a good name for an album. Keith Richards, Cockroaches, and Spam.
That's a good name for a band.
If you could get him to play, though. Yeah, that's the thing. Nobody's ever looked at him and said, Keith, you look like you could use a lie down. Because they're afraid he'll never get back up.
Exactly. He probably just sleeps hanging upside down. You stay so young. I suck the blood of the young.
Better not do that. Ozzy will bite his head off.
No.
Oh, man.
Nice. I don't know. I've been watching. I watched horror. Like I watched A Quiet Place. I watched The Walking Dead, some other of those kind of apocalypse type movies, and I'm like, I don't need to be alive that bad, man. I'm running towards the zombies. I think. I don't think I'm going to forage around in the woods for 3 years to try to stay alive. I don't need it that bad.
Well, yeah, because that's just boring. It's like you're hiding from them. I'd rather just go out and take as many as I can with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of it just looks like a perpetual hide and seek.
Or just go ahead and become one, because how much worse can it be?
That's what I'm thinking. Now, sure, if the apocalypse happens and I'm on a bus with the women's Olympic volleyball team, I'll probably try to stick it out for a while. but like, just me and two of my buddies, we don't need to find zombies that bad, man. I'm just gonna crawl in a hole.
I'll go first, yeah.
That's all the same with you guys. I'm just going to head on into the crowd. Don't worry about me.
Yeah, I'm going to cause a distraction. You guys run. I'm not running.
Then you go out a hero. So,
when
really it's just laziness.
Yes, exactly.
Get to be a hero status one way or another.
That'd be a funny way to go through history and see how many people the heroes of history were just lazy. They're like, I'm not running all the way over there.
Yeah.
I'm just going to dive on this grenade because I don't want to climb this hill again.
Yeah, at least this will be quick.
I'm overdrawn at the bank. The IRS is coming after me. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Done.
That's a terribly dark thought, but it's funny.
You guys run, I'll take the machine gun turrets. Just get a quick nap in.
Yeah.
Worst case, I just blow off my legs and I don't have to run. I don't have to march anymore. Let's do that.
Lieutenant Dan was so close.
Yeah. Well, he tried. He tried. Yeah.
Why are you putting tourniquets on me? Leave me alone.
I was almost done doing push-ups. You son of a bitch. Yeah.
But they're easier to do with, from your knees. It's,
Yeah.
physics.
That is true. Yeah. You have the less. It's a lower fulcrum point.
Exactly.
Well, for more happy thoughts like this, you'll be at Wiley's Friday and Saturday.
Friday, Saturday, baby. Wiley'sComedy.com. Go buy tickets.
Awesome. Well, I got to do the comedy rundown. We got to take a little break. I appreciate you calling in.
Thanks, Don. I appreciate it, man.
It's been a lot of fun.
Show.
Hopefully sometime we'll get you here and we can get you in the studio in person.
That'd be awesome. Let's do that.
All right. Well, thanks again for calling in. We will see you this weekend at Wiley's.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
There's a reason they call them lazy Sundays. There's nothing better than sitting around and enjoying the comforts of a good book. But what book should that be? Well, every Sunday, Eventide brings you The Bookseller, hosted by Jessica Gillen. Each week, Jessica breaks down a different book and tells you everything you need to know before cracking it open and getting lost in a whole new world. Tune in every Sunday for The Bookseller with Jessica Gillen, brought to you by Eventide Entertainment.
All right. All right. We're back on the live radio show discussing bad bosses.
Dicks.
Yes. Well, that's a proper name.
Exactly.
No,
Wank if you're British.
Tonight is my last night on second shift at my current job. Next week I'm going to start a day shift job, and yes, it's about damn time.
Exactly.
But no, it's a good feeling when you get to go into work and legitimately not give a damn.
Exactly.
I mean, I'll still go in and do my job,
But I've officially turned the give a crap meter off.
Exactly. It's like, okay, I'll just
Extra effort is out of the
most
picture.
of the night counting down. But
We done set fire to that bridge.
but we were talking about bad bosses, and I've had a number of.
Yeah.
But one of my favorites. I'm gonna tell you about the story of this guy. I'm not gonna mention his name, but I worked at this. It was like a frozen food warehouse. It's a miserable job.
We've talked about this.
Yeah, we've talked about this one. And this guy, he was at first he was one of the managers. He was first supervisor, then he moved up to manager. Well, me and this guy were constantly at odds, and he'd always try. He was one of those guys that liked to try to embarrass you. Well, because this is I didn't like using the restrooms that all the warehouse guys were using, so I'd go up to the offices, right? Because they're animals, but I'd go up to the offices to use them. Well, I was on day shift there for a while, and as I'm walking up there, this guy comes around the corner. Where are you going? You going to take a poop? And I was like, yeah, do you want to weigh it or something? I mean, but he was saying that because it was right in front of the receptionist, who he was trying to embarrass me in front of her, which she didn't like me anyway, but that's a whole other story. I ruined her one day, her day once out in the smoke shack because she was talking about, she was a kind of a man hater, and she was talking about getting a divorce, and I'm just trying to make her mad. She was talking about getting a divorce, and she's like, well, my husband's trying to take my portable dishwasher. And I said, I always thought a wife was a portable dishwasher. And she threw her cigarette down and stomped out. But anyway, back to the... And I'm not a sexist or anything. I just said that to make her mad.
Yes.
Sometimes you give me that opportunity, and
Exactly.
I'm going to volley.
So it's not like this guy was going to embarrass me in front of her. She hated hated my guts. After that comment, I don't know why, but the next day I brought him in. I actually went out and bought him a little pacifier, and I bought him a copy of the book Everybody Poops, and I put it on his desk for him. So we had gotten to the point where we were just calling him the Big Baby. It's kind of like that was his name in the whole shop was the Big Baby. Well, they moved him up to assistant GM. And, I mean, we did everything we could to make this guy's life miserable. I had some stuff written on my hard hat that I put on there, and I'm not going to say what it is, but it had a meaning to me and several of the guys out in the shop, but he had no idea what it meant. Well, I went into his office one day, and I sat down. I said, I got a question for you. He's like, well, I got a question for you, because I'm not answering your question until you tell me what that means that you have written on your hat. I said, you're not going to answer my question until I tell you that? He's like, nope. I was like, all right. So I stood up and walked out of his office. Now, he comes chasing me down the hallway, going, man, come on, just ask me your question. So he's following me down the hallway. I'm laughing because he's back there begging me to ask him a question. He looks like such an idiot. We walk past the general manager, who looks at him and looks at me and just shakes his head and walks off. And finally the guy says, well, can't you take a joke? And I turn around and I said, we just passed your boss. Well, you're following along behind, begging me to ask you a question, and you don't even know what the question is. Your boss looked at you like you're brain dead, and you think I'm the one that this joke is on? And about that time, he just started cussing and turned around and walked back to his office. But we always called him the big baby because he just acted like a spoiled child. Well, one day, they decided that they were going to let him go. They were going to move him out of that facility because so many people couldn't stand him.
Yay.
So in the meeting, I already knew where he was being transferred to, but I wasn't going to say anything yet because I wanted it to be a surprise. So we're sitting there in this meeting, and everybody's there talking. They're up there talking about him being transferred somewhere else, and finally I pipe up and say, "Where are you being transferred to?" And he's just like, "I'm being transferred to another facility." I was like, "Well, where's the facility?" Because I already knew he was going to a Gerber baby food plant. And finally, the general manager just looked at me and said, "He's going to Gerber." And there's about 3 of us literally fell out of our chairs laughing. The big baby's going to the Gerber plant. That was one of those ones that I got fired from that job. It was so worth it. Because that guy,
you can't write irony like that.
I bet he still has nightmares about me. That's been 15 years ago.
And you've had a number of bosses that don't like you?
Can you imagine?
No.
It's like there's something wrong with all of them. But no, we made that guy's life miserable. But at least I didn't put him on a tombstone.
Yeah, well, yeah, I had one, and again, he was just a total wank. And anything that he could do to make people's lives miserable, and I make tombstones for Halloween, sell them on the internet, whatever. And so I had this big one and put his name on the tombstone, and I'm working on it at lunchtime in the shop. And people are like, holy cow, you're putting his name on a stone? And I'm like, yeah, why not? About 2 weeks later, he had a heart attack. He was gone for like months. I started getting lists, hey, man, put this guy's name on a tombstone. I don't know what kind of evil magic you're working there, white guy, but do this.
It's the magic shirt. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's
Y'all
awesome.
out there in Radio Land can't see all it. Well, this is like a Disney shirt. It has all the colors on it.
Yes. It's
and paisley to boot.
And paisley, yeah.
Yeah, it's got some paisley going on there and some flowers.
Trace has got some lovely shirts.
Oh, yeah.
Straight out of 1970s.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe even before that. I don't know.
Yeah, there's some of them that definitely, alert the authorities and watch that guy. It's funny. My license plate on my car is the Blue Dream. And I had a couple of high school kids stop me there last summer. And one kid's like, what's your license plate mean? I'm like, what does it mean to you? And one kid just, got all bug-eyed and, started to snicker. And he's like, Blue Dream's a strain of grass. And I'm like, yeah, it is. That's actually also an album by Joe Satriani, Gone Flying in a Blue Dream, which is, because it's a blue truck. And, just to see the kid's head, like, try to grasp that, because you could tell he was just high as a kite. It's like, what? There's an album?
And probably didn't know who Satriani was.
No.
Which is a shame.
Little square kids.
Yeah, I thought it was just another name for a wet dream, because something blue dream, something underground.
Yeah, that'd be a blown dream. You got to use the proper form of past tense on that.
Okay, all right. Good point.
Get the crusty sock.
The one that crackles.
You broke my sock.
The one sock Mom won't touch. You can knock a bird out with that thing. Why don't you take it outside and leave it in the rain for a week? Hope we've taken a left.
We definitely we better get back on track with some wonderful news stories. We do have some news stories that always gets us back on track. That never gets us back on track, but I like to say it anyway. Oh, let's see. It's not often a town of roughly 1,000 makes national news, but then it's not often a town faces a plight so ripe for media attention as Parrish, Alabama.
Ooh.
For upwards of 2 months, a train brimming with sewage sludge, that's such a pretty way of it, it's brimming with sewage sludge, has been squatting, of course, uninvited near fields used for youth baseball, simmering in the afternoon sun, making its noisome presence known even in the darkness of night. In a word, Mayor Heather Hall said earlier this week, it smells like death. But it appears a tiny town may finally be waking from its long nightmare. I have wonderful news, Hall announced Wednesday on Facebook in what one might describe as a remarkable understatement. She explained that the containers of excrement aboard the train have been transported to and emptied at their intended destination, a landfill operated by Big Sky Environmental about 25 miles away. A few containers remained at the Parrish rail yard as of Wednesday afternoon, but she reassured her constituents those were just empties, soon to be removed as well.
All trucked in or trained in from New York City. I saw a story on that last week.
Oh, that's all New York City
all
poo?
New York City poo.
Oh, that's the worst. That's the worst kind. New York City poo.
City poo. Hey.
Hey, my cousin over here. This guy. Forget about it.
Yep. Well, yeah, because there are probably a lot of, if it's straight out of the sewers, there's probably a lot of dissolved bodies and
no kidding.
Some alligators here and there.
You know?
Rats the size of pumas.
Yeah. Yep, all at a rail yard near you.
In Alabama, those folks are scratching their heads praying like crazy, I imagine. What brought this stench upon us?
Yeah. Yeah.
Foul ball by the train yard. Nope, that ball's done. You hit it. You chased it.
I'm not getting it. That went in one of them. Send Timmy. Oh.
Poop in a landfill? They're not going to reprocess it or they're physically going to throw away poop into the ground.
Well, it's New York City poop. It's non-recyclable. It just sits in a landfill.
Like, there's water treatment plants for that stuff.
Smells like pizza and Chinese food. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Because, I mean, what are you going to fertilize with that? Yeah. Concrete?
Yeah. That's why I don't even have a dog, because I remember when my wife and I first got married. This month makes 29 years that I've been married to this girl. And
Girl?
Yeah.
I swear I didn't think he was
don't
straight.
know who she is. Just,
When we first got married, she had a Cocker Spaniel, and the very first time I had to go pick up
glad you finished
poop,
this.
it's like, nope, I'm done with that. I'm not, at least cats are courteous, and they go in the same damn spot every day, but a dog just anywhere, and hey, pick that up for me. No, not doing that.
That's why you have a backyard. I don't pick it up.
Yeah.
It can sit out there.
Well, we lived in an apartment area, and it's like, yeah, pick up after your dog, and she still laughs at the first time, I had to put a bag on my hand. Nope, get rid of that.
That is kind of degrading to walk around with a plastic bag.
Revolting.
Yeah.
No, we all haven't.
Yeah.
Don't just throw that word out there. We all haven't. I'll use a shovel and a broom if I got to clean one after a dog. There's no plastic glove in it.
Now, I will say there's only been one time I've gone around and cleaned the yard up from dog poo, and that was because I was throwing it at the neighbor's house.
Donating to a worthy cause. Yeah.
We just got new neighbors the other day, and my wife was telling me they were moving in, and I was, as soon as I saw the sold sign, like before they started moving in, I was kind of hoping, because Holly Schock had looked at that same house right next door to me.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, man, that'd be really funny if it was Holly.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, they're
Hello,
local-
neighborhood.
Yeah, you talk about a lively neighborhood now. Yeah, I can't imagine that bouncing out every. Hey,
Yeah.
she's coming on later on the show, so it'll be fun. But I'll have to tell her. I was really hoping it was her that bought that house, but
Was it millennials?
She had more sense. They do have 2 young kids, so now I'm going to have to fence in my backyard because I keep my dog on a cable, but unfortunately she don't keep her kids on a cable.
Yeah.
So they'll be able to walk into my yard where they will become dog food because I have a dog that's not extremely friendly.
I have a
I love him to
pressure
pieces,
wand
but
from my
he's,
garden hose that I keep the neighborhood kids in line with.
There you go.
Oh, I sprayed one.
Oh, you spray them with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I was getting the old rubber hose with a beat.
No, I don't
That's
need
a
to.
good
It
trick.
shoots out the size of a needle, and it's got enough pressure. I hit a kid there 2 years ago with it. Hit him so hard in his backpack, he did a 180.
That's how you do it, right
Exactly. It's my street. I own taxes. I own this. What do you owe taxes on? Anything other than your jacket? I bet your dad bought that for you too. So just keep it moving, kid.
Yeah. He probably wants to hit you with something too.
Yeah.
He'll get in trouble.
Like I said, combat engineer. Bring him on.
Yeah.
Hooah.
All right. The U.S. Customs and Border Control has fined a woman $500 for not declaring she was bringing a free apple into the U.S. that she received on her Delta Airlines flight from Paris. Crystal Tadlock tells KDVR-TV in Denver that flight attendants had passed out apples and she placed it in her carry-on to save for her flight from Minneapolis to Denver. Her bag was randomly searched by Customs. Tadlock says the agent asked her if her trip to France was expensive, and when she said yes, he told her it was about to get more expensive after charging her $500. Delta says it recommends all passengers comply with Customs regulations. Customs declaration forms ask passengers if they are bringing any fruits or vegetables into the country.
What's the name of the station again?
KDVR.
Cadaver.
Cadaver TV. That's
Thanks, Osama.
Exactly.
good catch, Trace.
Got a brain like a sieve, but nothing gets past it.
Well, you only catch what's important, the big stuff.
Exactly.
That
Again, I make
that is one
tombstones,
that
so
I missed. Yeah, Cadaver TV from the guy that makes tombstones makes perfect sense.
Exactly.
But yeah,
Pay a little
if you get
attention.
your apple on the flight. And when did they start giving? They used to just be nuts. When did they start? I guess many peanut allergies.
Everything changed when Osama bin Laden did that stuff. Everything masturbating on planes is off the list.
I just drink.
Oh, I didn't know that because
Yeah.
I've flown since then, and I had never stopped me.
Oh, they've just done. The rules have gone topsy turvy.
Well, you got to have the
I'm not
courtesy
allowed to fly
go
Delta
to the
anymore.
lavatory first.
Oh.
That's the difference. That's
Okay.
the difference because I joined the Solo Mile High Club.
Going into
flying
the little
solo.
bathroom is why I'm not allowed to fly on Delta anymore, because apparently the girl in the seat next to me had issues with that.
Well, you okay. I thought you meant you were going into the lavatory and disabling the smoke detectors.
Oh, no. No, I was, going to
right
town there.
there in your
Yeah,
seat.
apparently it hit her in the
Well-
face and woke her up. So she
Well,
was.
that's the problem. Those seats are so small, you don't have the elbow room for that anyway. You barely have room for that in the lavatory.
Barely.
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 It can be done.
No, yes, it can.
I've heard.
There's video evidence out there somewhere.
Yeah. Hey, give you nuts on the flight. You might as well get your own. That is wrong. That is wrong.
Yeah, I get on planes and I like to drink. I get on and just it's a 4-hour party in the sky for me.
Yeah, and that's why you're not a pilot anymore.
Oh, exactly. Not anymore.
Not
They took that
anymore.
license too. Damn it.
You just keep losing everything. 'cause
I
of
actually
that.
like to drink in the parking lot, then drink at the bar before I go on.
Oh, me
then
too.
wait to be last, and then drink when I get on there the whole time. So I can relate to that.
I start drinking when I book my flight.
Well, back
Like 3 weeks before.
back in the
And
80s,
I
I
just
had
don't stop until I'm at my destination.
Yeah, like I say, it's a rolling party all day long. I used to, I figured out back in the 80s, I would get on the flight and I would just take out the air sickness bag and just, put my little tray table down and take it out. And, right away, flight attendants get concerned. What's going on? Oh, I get nervous flying. Well, is there anything we could help you? Yeah. Could I get a double? And I mean, just Right away, man. Just start pounding them.
That's brilliant advice right there.
I was
That's
drinking before the
fantastic.
plane took off. And people are like, how in the hell is he getting away from that? Oh, he's got a nervous stomach.
Yeah. Nervous stomach, you want to dump alcohol into.
Exactly. But, after 2 or 3 of them, they're like, are you okay? Oh, I'm fine now.
Yep.
Where's those nuts?
Still a little shaky.
That's a good idea. My puke bag turns into a ham puppet when I get enough beers in me. I draw eyes and faces and talk to the other passengers. Hi, I'm Mr. Peppers. It is. I'm all liquored up, hand puppeting. They're not appreciative of that.
Yeah. They don't like a good show.
Exactly.
And it's like, if there's a chance every time you get on a plane it's going to crash, you might as well enjoy yourself.
Exactly.
Oh, a Texas man. A Texas man has been sentenced to 50 years in prison for stealing $1.2 million worth of fajitas over 9 years. You started laughing before I even said what he stole. You must know this story.
Yes, I'm sorry.
53-year-old Gilberto Escamilla was sentenced Friday after pleading guilty to theft by a public servant. The Brownsville Herald reports that he told the court the fajita scheme spun out of control. Escamilla had been intercepting fajitas that he ordered through the Cameron County Juvenile Center where he worked and delivering them to his own customers. His scam was uncovered when he missed work for a medical appointment and an 800-pound fajita delivery arrived at the center, which doesn't serve fajitas. Escamilla was fired in August and arrested after authorities checked vendor invoices and obtained a search warrant that uncovered county-funded fajitas in his refrigerator. How do they know that they were county-funded in his refrigerator? Did they have them marked? Is there? And then the more important question, why?
Exactly.
Why 500
That's a lot of fajitas.
$1.2 million worth of fajitas.
And how much time did he get for that?
50 years.
Wow.
For fajitas. Man. Oh, yay.
Fajita scheme. That'd be a good name for a band.
The fajita scheme. We're fajita scheme.
Not the Lufthansa heist. The fajita scheme.
Yep. What are you in for? Fajitas, man.
We only serve those on Thursdays,
You came here for the fajitas? Because I got a guy.
I know a guy, man.
I got a guy who can get you some fajitas in here. I'm going to tell you how he sneaks them in. But they're marked.
Yeah.
These are marked fajitas. We can tell they're Cameron County fajita. This is Cameron County brand fajitas.
I mean, what do you tell someone you're in the prison for? Murder, double robbery, armed.
Yep.
Fajitas.
Well, you have to tell them the amount. I stole $1.2 million of fajitas from the government, and you're cool as hell. That's better than murder.
That's street cred?
You'll get, instead of teardrops, you'll get tacos tattooed under your eyeball.
You got a little burrito right there.
Is that a teardrop? Nope. It's a burrito for every $1 million worth of fajitas I stole from the man.
And I got that tattoo for free, damn it. Fajita King.
The Fajita King. That's fantastic.
Of all the things you could steal, of all of them.
Yep, gotta love them fajitas.
Yeah. And they're probably frozen and pre-cooked and just, not probably high-end.
Right. Yeah, they're not the high-end fajitas.
Yeah.
They're not those high-dollar fajitas.
Not the ones
They
that
were
you have to
government
assemble.
fajitas. That's like stealing government cheese. It's
Bingo.
not worth it. Which, don't get me wrong, love government cheese.
Oh, I've had my fair share of that.
There's nothing makes a grilled cheese like a big old thick slice of government cheese.
And you can fix a muffler with it. So
yeah, you can use that crap as plumber's putty. It ain't going nowhere.
I got a leaky pipe. Let me get some of that government cheese. Just roll it out.
Yep. Cheese does tend to block a leaky pipe. That's for sure.
Yep, it'll definitely plug some stuff up.
That's a fact.
Oh, man. On that note, as much as I hate to do it, we're going to have to take a break and kick one of you out. I'm going to flip a coin. Jess, you're staying your guest co-host.
Yeah.
But Trace, it has been fantastic having you.
A bladder the
It's
size
great
of
to
a
see you
walnut. I got to go.
again. Yeah. No, it's been a lot of fun. It's a lot of good seeing you. Do you have any shows coming up?
Yeah, actually, I actually got to do a guest set for Dave Landau when he was at the Funny Bone last week.
Cool.
So that was really cool. So big shout out to Dave for giving me stage time.
There you go.
But I got a show coming up on my birthday over in Columbus on May 18th. So come on over to Finnegan's Wake in Pickerington. It'll be me and the ever insane Rob. Wilfong.
Yeah.
And Carlin Haggerty and Lori Graves. So
that'll be a good show.
It'll be a lot of fun. We're raising money for the Susan Coleman Run for a Cure. Yep. So it'll definitely be a fun night of laughing for a cause.
What's the over-under on him wearing a Dr. Pepper shirt?
Yeah.
I think he was wearing one when he was here on the show.
I'd like to know how many of those he has, because
hopefully more than one.
Yeah, hopefully more than one. But yeah, we were laughing, my wife and I, the other night, because I can't remember what we were watching, something on TV, and they had mentioned syphilis, and that's one of those words now that just cracks us up because of that guy, and his whole syphilis bit, syphilis, and now, which is embarrassing when we're in public and just, somebody mentions syphilis and we just lose it. People are like, why are you laughing at syphilis?
Yep, you don't understand.
You don't understand until you've seen this mayhem happen.
There you go. All right, we got to take a break. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks
Always
for having me.
To see you. And we will be back in just a few minutes with Holly Schock and Adrian Miller.
Yay.
All right, stay tuned.
Looks like we've got a mystery on our hands, folks. Mike Shea, along with Eventide Entertainment and the Neon Movie Theater, will be premiering his newest short film, Monarch, a neo-noir detective mystery set right here in the Gem City, Dayton, Ohio. The event will be held on Thursday, May 17th at 7:30 p.m., and you can be a part of the process. Just go to www.gofundme.com/Monarch Film Premiere, and you can donate to make this one real night to remember. Lots of rewards and gifts for those who donate, including free tickets, concessions, posters, and movie downloads. Tickets are only $5 and can be picked up at the Neon box office. Mark your calendars for May 17th. It's a night with the detective, and you don't want to miss it. Nothing brings people together quite like the movies, and every week Aaron Lopez wants you to join him in a discussion about the latest and greatest in the world of film. So grab a drink, grab some popcorn, and get comfy. Come join Aaron and friends every Thursday at The Drive-In, presented by Eventide Entertainment. Wednesdays on Eventide, Robert Yetter and Mike Shea sit down and throw albums at each other, talking about them, picking them apart, ripping them a new one. All different artists, all different genres, all different levels of suckage. It's Track Record, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. on the Eventide podcast feed. For more information, go to eventideent.com.
You've been staring over that edge for hours. And people die down there. And dying when you're not really sick is really sick, Really.
All right, well, keep singing. You're on the air now. You didn't even get a warning, did you? Welcome back to the Life Radio Show. I'm your host, Don Smith, sitting in with my guest co-host, Jess Cordery.
Morning, everybody.
He has moved further away from the ashes. And we've kicked Trace Shuttleworth out, and he has been replaced by Adrian Miller.
Hello.
And Holly Schock.
Hi, everybody.
And you guys don't know this. This is the last Wednesday live broadcast of the Life Radio Show.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Do we get to take anything home with us?
Well, you can take the mixing board if you want.
Oh, no, I want something.
Well, no, we'll be back next week on Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. because I'm quitting my job tonight. This is my last night as a second shift
neurosurgeon.
Oh, okay. Yes. So from now on, all of my brain surgeries will be done in the morning. So,
You just,
So, so we'll be covered then, everybody, and then I get to do this
That's
fantastic stuff in the evenings.
well, that's good. Like you deserve to do.
But we'll still be rebroadcast on Wednesdays from noon to 2 through the summer.
Oh,
So I'm going to record Tuesday night, rebroadcast it Wednesday, so that people that listen at this time, both of you, can continue to listen.
okay.
So yeah, it's
Wow.
exciting. It's
Time-
all these
time
things
shifting.
happening. Yeah,
Very
we're-
Doc Brown of you.
yes.
There are 2 listeners right now?
I'm
Well, there are 3 of you.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
there
okay,
are 4
okay.
people. There are
Yeah.
4 people
Yeah.
right now listening to what's being said in this studio.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
That's it.
that's more than, my imaginary friends, so.
Because there aren't a whole lot of people in school right now because it's finals week and everybody's
oh,
had enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
finally, yes.
Finally. So what's been happening with you, Adrian? It's been a little while since you've been. I'm going to put you on the spot first. 'Cause
Sure.
It's been a little while since you've been in.
Sure. I've been working on the Wimity podcast.
I was wondering how that was pronounced because I was thinking
Yeah,
Wimity,
Womity.
Womity,
Womity.
Womity, Wobbity.
I mean, it's
that
on the
sounds like
internet.
something Holly should have said, actually.
Womity. It's Womity podcast is my other podcast. It's about wombats. And
Wombat. Because
yeah.
we've been missing Wombat podcasts.
You know,
We've been needing
it's a
more
niche
of those.
that just hasn't been explored.
Do you know that wombats poop square?
Do they?
Oh, do
Yes. That is a little known fact.
they? Wow.
Square.
They poop square. You can look that up on the computer thingamajig you got there. But Google it. Wombats poop squares.
How about deep dish?
What? How?
It's because they get so constipated that it just holds in there and forms like a square. And when they drop it, it's pooped in a square form. Check it up, all you listeners.
Those are like sharp edges, or because that would hurt.
It's 90s.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This
So-
fantastic.
So if you're walking through the woods and you think you saw a pile of fudge on the ground, don't
Right.
eat it.
Yes.
Well, any animal that poops in squares deserves a podcast.
Agreed.
Exactly. And these are just one of the many exciting facts that we will explore on the Womity podcast.
Now, do you actually have wombats as guests?
I mean, that would be very exciting if we could land them. I mean, their schedules are so busy.
That is true.
And starting out, you have such a low viewership. But, if we could get the numbers, guys, we can make it happen.
Well, yeah, because they're not going to come in just.
No, they're not going to fly.
Yeah,
they're not going to fly in
Unless
from
they're gonna
Australia
get some-
for 2 viewers
right.
And it'd be
or
really
listeners,
hard.
I should say.
And the best thing is if you can get Wombat Man.
Oh, there's Wombat Man.
I'm Wombat Man.
Well, I will tell you that my guest co-host has just Googled wombat poop, and
It's very.
apparently,
The world must know.
they do poop cube shaped. So that is. I really like how this title down here says the wombat's cubic poop is one of nature's weirdest superpowers. That's what it is, superpower.
Which brings us once
Is-
again to Wombatman and what his powers would be.
Right,
Clearly,
right. Apparently, one of his major powers
is forming
cubic poop.
excrement into cubes.
Right. Because you never know when that skill is going to
You never
be there for
know.
crime fighting.
It's a little known character of the Justice League.
Wombat Man.
It's like Aquaman, except it's
not
even
extremely useful.
more specific.
Let
Right.
me throw me wombat poop at him.
Yeah. Well, no, it's square, so it's cubic. You can build things with it.
Who needs a wall, mate?
Well, the Wombat Cave. Yeah,
Right.
Wombat Man Cave.
Yeah. The Wombat Cave.
Wow, this really went interesting.
It's yeah. So tell us about Womity and Womity or
Womity or
Womity.
Womity
See, I
or
never-
whatever. It's a work in progress.
even the pronunciation's a work in progress.
Yeah. I mean, the thing right now is, we're just interviewing people. But one thing I've really been thinking about is expanding out. I mean, on the social media, I post about as a woman in comedy, you read things, you're always watching things. And so things that I think might be useful to other women. So I just read a great book this week that I'll be hopefully posting later today called Trainwreck, which is really interesting. It kind of was inspired by, I've noticed, people really like to go after women and minorities when they mess up. Like, sorry to go serious, but like after all this wombat talk, see that's why I need a wombity, because I need something lighter to balance out these more serious, weighty topics.
Because I want to clarify for our listener.
One listener.
We love you, listener. Actually isn't a podcast about wombats.
No.
It's about women in comedy.
It's about women in comedy. And when I started out, I kind of was like, comedians, it'll be funny. Like, there'll be serious things. It'll be funny. But, one of the things I find is when you ask women about their journey and about, how comedians are once they're off the stage. They're always the life of the party. And they're such full of joy, and there's no darkness or anything serious. But, you really do start talking about, things that are more, more concerning. I mean, we do touch on that a little bit, and how do you handle it? And, like, this book I read it because it's just, like, it's the kind of thing I realized I'm not scared of not making it. That's not the thing that keeps me up at night. I'm okay with that. What kept me from doing comedy for a long time and really scared me, and when you talk to other women, is the fear that I will get attention. If that makes any sense. Like, that I will get attention, and then people will start looking through your social media feed. They'll start live streaming things. They'll start analyzing
you. And start picking away at you.
And there is evidence that people tend to, especially with women and minorities, they tend to be much harder on them and just kind of go attack dog. And the weird thing is, with women are actually the biggest instigators of doing that. It's like women policing other women. And so it's scary because it's like, well, I'm a woman. I notice when I look in the crowd, the people most interested in what I have to say are women. And yet at the same time, they could be the ones who tear me to pieces, ultimately. And the thing is, it's also what the other side is, that the people most likely to tear other people to pieces are comedians. And so it's like, you might also be the problem too, making things worse. So it's sort of a weird thing where, every time you go into like, tearing down a woman, saying, oh, this public figure, what a whore she is, and like making jokes about it, you really have to stop and think like that sword cuts both ways.
Absolutely.
And, I think there's a lot to think about. And it didn't really have a lot of hopeful answers. In fact, it said we've actually turned our attention away from celebrities and people, at least that we can say you can comfort yourself in your pool of money, to people who are more ordinary. Like, I just saw the other day, there was a girl who posted that's blown up. She went to prom and she wore a Chinese style dress and just torn to shred. Just a girl wearing a China, which you can, yes, there's a whole, like, it's a good discussion to have about cultural appropriation, but it's like, she's not a celebrity.
Right.
She's a high school girl. She's like 17, 18.
With the just the proliferation of social media in our lives, it just seems like people that aren't celebrities are still able to get that kind of not just attention but abuse almost.
Yeah, and she didn't have a lot of attention before this until someone picked it up. And it's just like, it's almost kind of like, and that's what that got me on this, is I noticed with like Coachella and stuff, is like if a girl wears the wrong accessory, we're just like attack dog. A dude has to be like a whole frat decided to dress in blackface, like something horrific, before people start going in and saying F those guys.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's kind of scary. There's this latent hatred, and there's sort of like, you have to be perfect or get off the effing stage, and it's just the fact that we kind of resent women putting themselves forward. But then add in any other minority identity, and it's like, sorry to bring it down.
No,
I know you want to be a happy. We can go back to wombats if that helps.
I love good discussions on the show. We just had an hour of silliness.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's always good because you're speaking from a perspective that I can't speak to.
Well, but we're all comedians, and guys these
Except
days
for that
are.
That's a
perspective.
loose saying on mine.
They're afraid of the same thing. Like, why is there this thing of like, we want to build people up and then just tear them down, or how this joy that there seems to be in the society now of like tearing people to shreds. It's even beyond like, we need to address things and talk about things, where it's almost like we want to see blood. Like it's like, it feels like the French Revolution of like people just lining up with their guillotine, toys and stuff and earrings and being like, yes! And women were the biggest, actually, the biggest fans of the guillotine. They actually had jewelry and shirts and everything. Anyway.
Wow.
How do you think that affects people like young comics that are bashed like that? I mean, on social media, because that wasn't real big when I was growing up doing comedy. I mean, how do they react to it? Do they, how do you react to it?
I mean, I'm not super young, so I'm an older millennial, so I'm in the same boat. Like when I was coming of age, I mean, it was like, I graduated from high school in 2000. So we didn't have social media even at that point. It would be like message boards and, stuff would still go down. But, it's not quite where stuff is completely tied to your identity forever. And like, I don't know. That's what I wonder. I mean, I think a lot of what I see is young people are pretty ignorant and innocent. And I think they don't think about it until it happens to them or someone they know. And then they're like, what did I just say, or what did I just do? And I notice a lot of people, that's, I think, why they're not on Facebook as much anymore and stuff that's very public. It tends to be more private networks and until they feel ready to say something. But I do wonder if it does discourage people, because now it's like I know for myself that reason I didn't do stand-up for a long time was I was like, maybe I want to get a real job someday, Yeah. And then people are going to look through my Facebook and stuff's going to be there. And what if I do, I'm just up on stage trying some stuff out and something comes out that for whatever reason, they're like, we don't want to be associated with that. And again, as a woman, the bar's higher, especially because there's a tendency, if women are very vocal, research has found they're seen as pushy and unpleasant. And, I don't want to work with her, where a guy's like, wow, he's really assertive and he's confident.
Yeah, I'm 1,000% certain if there was social media when I was starting out in comedy, I would not be employable and I would probably be arrested.
I have with me. I got the 60, our 60s social media was the movie Woodstock. See that naked lady running through the pond over there? That's Grandma.
And it didn't have her tagged, right? So everyone in all her family could be like, oh, look, what's Susie's doing this weekend?
Oh, God. Yeah, you're exactly right on that stuff. And it's funny because, like you say, you're still young. You're, later millennial. I'm at the point now where, I'll be 65 in a couple months, and it's okay. I don't care what the social media says about me anymore. I've heard enough stuff since my teens, but yeah, what you're saying is very true. Very true.
All right.
Oh, I like puppies.
So we're going to post this all over social media and tag everybody. And
I've tried never to associate any job I've had with my social media for the reason that, and I'm careful what I post anyway most of the time, but I make comments every now and then. But I try to be careful what I post, except when, of course, when I put the podcast up. They can listen to that and think, nope, he's fired right now.
And I was wondering what the hell I did wrong the other day when I was looking on Facebook, and it goes, did you think this was a hate thing or whatever it was that they had that bloop on Facebook where they thought everything was a hate message? And I was kind of like, yeah, it said like, a lot of my statements, it goes, do you think this was a hate message? Yes or no? And then it said today on Facebook it was a glitch.
No, I wasn't on there. I didn't see it.
Yeah, mine. Yeah, a lot of mine said, I go, hate message, I like puppies. No, it's not a hate message, Yep.
I love wombats. Is this a hate message?
Yeah. What do you mean by wombats?
Nobody loves wombats.
Yeah. Is it the cubic poop? Is that what? Is that the whole thing with the wombat love?
I make a cool necklace. Wombat love.
Yeah. They're just like preemptively tagged hate message.
It is.
Muskrat love. That's the song I was thinking of.
Yeah.
So Wombat Love. We can go there too. Cubic Poop. That's another good band name. That's an emo band right there.
Exactly. And it should be a tagline for the show.
That sounds like
Write it down.
That's the title for the show. No,
That's cubic poop sounds like something Stephen Hawking would come up to after smoking a real fat one.
oh, I don't even know where to go after that.
Well, you go to the bathroom if you got cube. I don't know. I probably would not flushed out of the toilet.
Yeah, well, it's like cubicle poop, I guess.
I can say, with social media, I have been aware more because I'm a working professional. I know you can't tell by the way I dress.
So we know that.
Right. He's a sharp man.
I never include any of my work, and all my stuff's on private. So, because my act is vile and disgusting and crude by any stretch of the imagination.
We know.
I mean, yeah, truckers blush when they come to see me do stand-up. But, yeah, that's bad. But I've always been able to just keep that part private. They don't know that I'm going into a whole separate character, that I'm not really that. But again, I can see where I've gotten some leeway for it, where maybe a woman wouldn't be able to be determined as something different. So that is an interesting perspective, and I appreciate you sharing that. Sorry to get serious.
No, that's okay. That's okay. We've
I almost want to ask, and now that I'm more woke or whatever in my baby white girl way, again, and because I'm not super young, I'm older than people tell me they think I am.
Hello, baby.
But the thing is, I come from a less woke time, and I always think I have specific things on my social media that I'm afraid people will find and attack. You know what I mean? Are there things that you're like, oh yeah, I kind of was too open at one point, or, I almost want to ask people what they have that would be like, oh, good dear God, I hope nobody finds it. But you don't want to find it, so you wouldn't share it. So, catch-22.
Pictures of bowel movements. I think you got a caller.
Yeah, we have a call coming in. So let's see who we got here. Let's see if we can get more serious on the show.
Okay, perfect.
This is The Life. You're on the air.
Hi, so how are you today?
All right.
Good. Hey, I just want you to know that listening to you and Jess Cordery has been really great today, and enjoying the
must
the
be
message.
A friend of yours.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is.
It's my guess.
I am listening out of state Pennsylvania. I want to point that out.
Oh, okay.
And I'm a big fan of Jess Cordery. My name's Philip. I served with him in Iraq, but you know what? Knowledgeable guy, and just listen. Hey, what's up?
Hey, how's it going, brother?
I'm good, man. Good. I was fighting to get you on, trying to get you. I finally was able to listen to you a little, so
cool.
I apologize. But I used an app to find you, luckily. But hey, I just wanted to say I was listening to it, and very informative.
Thank you very much. Hope you continue to listen, brother. And thanks for helping me move earlier last year.
Oh, yeah. Hey, someone's got to be a team player around here.
Any questions for anyone on here?
No. I just was listening to a lot of information I didn't really know. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you saying so, because this show is normally not very informative. So.
I wouldn't know, but hey, if you're telling me that, why would you lie to me? Yeah.
It's a lot of fun though, but when every now and then we get informative.
Well, thank you, sir. Hey, thank you. Hey, listen, you all take care. Have a good day.
Yep, you too. Thanks a lot.
Wow, very good. Yay.
Well, there you go.
We have a live one.
Yeah.
I wonder if cubic poop is registered. If you could this is a cubic poop production.
What, registered like a firearm or?
Right.
Okay.
Oh, you heard it here. Holly
Like a
is
band
going
name,
to
yeah.
register trademark cubic poop.
Yeah.
So we can't take it anymore.
I would hurry before somebody else does. I would hurry and register cubicpoop.com.
Did you register that word floppiniffle or whatever it was the last time?
Fropping?
What that word? Flub and rub or something.
Yeah,
I feel like
I can't.
Fropping, roping. It's not.
Yeah, I can't remember.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, there's there goes the informative.
Yes.
Part of the show. It's done.
Well,
now.
hey, or business idea. I think Holly has a great business idea here. Is just come on the show, take riffs, and then sit on the domain names and trademark them.
Yeah.
Just put them out there no, this is a great idea. And then when someone takes it, it's like, pay up, $600.
Yeah, that's that is a good idea. Yeah.
Oh, God, I had a good idea. This is going bad.
Yeah.
Something's going wrong.
All right, well, we're going to take a little break. I think I'm going to play, what did I queue up? A little St. Mary, St. Michael. We'll go mellow.
Ooh.
We'll go mellow right now. So this This is a song called Blue 52, which has an interesting backstory that I'm not going to tell you about. 'Cause we're just going to play the song. So we will be back. Thank you, Holly. We'll be back here shortly.
If there's one thing that's true about wrestling fans, it's how much they like to talk about wrestling. Join Aaron Lopez and Ben Norsworthy for the Top Rope Wrestling Podcast.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Tune in every episode and be ringside as these two break down all of the big matches in the world of professional wrestling. Brought to you by Eventide Entertainment.
All right. Every now and then a song just comes to an abrupt end. I wasn't expecting that because it still had like time left on the indicator up here. But we're back on the Life Radio show.
Just
in
keeping
case
with
you
the theme of
wondered
the
who
show.
just randomly came up and talked about a song ending abruptly.
Unexpected things.
Unexpected things. This is the Life Radio show. I'm your host, Don Smith, sitting in with my guest co-host, Jess Cordery, and Adrian Miller and Holly Schock are in the studio with us. And so far, it's been a barrel of laughs.
Yeah.
It's always great. And every now and then, we could do with some intelligent discussion because we don't get that often. So, but I was going to tell you, Holly, that the house next door to me finally sold.
Aww.
Yeah, and I saw the sold sign on there the other day, and I was thinking, man, that'd be cool if Holly bought it.
Oh, God,
but it wasn't you. It would have been a riot.
Yeah, I was looking at the house next to his.
Because that neighborhood's always been really stuffy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like the wild one of that neighborhood. I'm the hated neighbor. My house is the bad. It's the wrong side of the neighborhood.
1313 Mockingbird Lane?
Yeah.
Well, you're flinging poo at one neighbor. I mean, you're not going to be considered the good neighbor for that.
Well, that's because he was a jerk. He deserved every turd that slapped up on the side of his white vinyl siding. So,
wow, that's my favorite country song.
Deserving every turd is it? Yep. If I'd have had a wombat, it would have been cubic poop and might have been worth something to him. But
wombat and a slingshot.
Yeah.
That could be a kid's game.
Yeah. The title of this episode is definitely going to be cubic poop. That way it'll disguise the serious discussion we can have.
Sometimes you just got to slip it in there.
Oh, man.
She said that, folks.
My virgin ears. Or somewhere.
On the verge of what? All right. Should we hit some news stories?
Yes.
Okay. Let's hit a few news stories. And I got to end the show early because I got a bunch of recording and swapping to do, and I got to be at work tonight for my final evening. So looking forward to that. See, I even brought all my uniforms, everything back in with me. I'm going to leave in my underwear, and I don't have to come back in again. All right. I'm not leaving here.
Thank you for all that information.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that.
He's sitting on underwear right now, folks, on the radio.
Exactly. Right on the radio.
Right on the radio.
Yeah. I'm on the mixing board. In my underwear.
Cubic.
Yeah. You say cubic poop stain, isn't it?
Okay.
Wow.
News.
I don't even want to. Florida authorities went to a funeral home and used a dead man's finger to try to unlock his cell phone as part of their investigation. 30-year-old Linus Phillip was killed by a Largo police officer last month after authorities say he tried to drive away before an officer could search him. Well, this is kind of a dark story. Why did I put this on here?
Yeah.
At the funeral home, two detectives held the man's hand up to the phone's fingerprint sensor, but could not unlock it. Philip's fiancée, Victoria Armstrong, says she felt violated and disrespected. Legal experts mostly agree what the detectives did was legal, but they question whether it was appropriate.
Would you have to have body heat?
I would think so. I think that's the problem, and that's just
yeah.
On the finger.
Well, physics. That's tends to escape your average
your average Florida cop.
Your average Florida cop physics, because why else would they have to shoot and kill somebody for just driving away? Because I really don't think driving away is really a killable offense.
No.
But that tends to, yeah. I mean, unless there was an officer under the car.
You know, and you can use a different finger if they just use the index. I mean, whatever what that finger is called.
Pointer.
Yeah, the pointer finger.
Index finger.
Yeah. And you can use any finger on your phone, so they might have just went, "Hey, it's not working."
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe they used the middle finger.
Yeah.
That'd get something going.
I mean, maybe he was really clever with his security and did like a, or I remember when they came out with the finger thing, there was women posting about using their tits to unlock their phone.
Oh, that'd be really
so
good
it's
the
like,
first time at home.
Check the incentive, and they're like, "Hey, look at this."
You didn't hear the 7 words earlier, did you?
Yeah.
That's all right.
Nursing her galaxy.
They just want it
now
to be.
that's a smartphone.
That's a smart phone.
They just want it to be very secure.
Yeah. Yeah, that would definitely, you wouldn't think that. Yeah.
So he might have used some unusual part of his anatomy.
That is true.
All I'm saying.
Could unlock it with a butt cheek. And
Did
the cops
not want
wouldn't know
his
that.
girlfriend to get in the phone. Did not want any nosy cops.
There
Even beyond
you
the
go.
grave was like, no, F you.
Yeah.
No one's getting into my phone. This is my fortress of solitude.
Exactly. Yeah.
Come at me,
You got to be
bro.
careful. Yeah.
It'd be wrong using a digital if it was an analog phone anyway.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
See, I really think it was just a flip phone. They couldn't figure out how to get it open.
Yeah.
See, that would be
we
true
are
security.
talking about Florida.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, they just kind of
Earl,
wiggle it around.
Earl, do you get it?
Throw it up against stuff. It's not opening.
They're
Moving
like
on.
Siri.
That's.
I understand you thought it was funny. You saw Dead Man and you were like, ha ha ha.
Well, yeah,
Feral
that's
blacks.
because I'm weird.
Me too.
Thank you.
Me
I'm
too.
sick and twisted.
Me too. I am too.
Awesome.
That's why I'm trying hard. I'm trying hard to be a normie right now.
A normie.
Put on my normie clothes.
Why do that?
Those
Normie
normies. Yeah. Postal
God damn
worker.
it! You blew my cover again. It's my real name.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. A postal worker who prosecutors say hoarded away more than 17,000 pieces of undelivered mail in New York City allegedly told investigators he was overwhelmed by the amount of mail he had to deliver. But officials say Alexei Germash, they couldn't get any mail because they couldn't figure out the name. Alexei Germash told them he, quote, made sure to deliver the important mail. Germash, that's be Germish maybe, I don't know.
Smith.
Anyway, yeah, Bob Smith was charged Thursday in Brooklyn with delaying or detaining mail. He declined to comment as he left the federal courthouse. Federal officials say they arrested the 16-year employee after receiving a tip about a car owned by Germash Smith that contained 20 full mail bags.
That could be a giveaway.
Yep. Authorities say they found 10,000 pieces of mail in his car, 6,000 pieces in his apartment, and 1,000 pieces in his work locker.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I paused there just to get
Yeah.
1,000 pieces in what? His work locker, which he's not very good at hiding mail.
Well, I'd like to point out that it wasn't a customer who complained. It wasn't a recipient. And he's like, I only sent the important mail. And how much real mail does anyone actually receive these days?
That's true. We just got a message on the chat feature here on the radio station. Somebody listening wrote in Newman.
Yeah.
Very good, very good.
He might.
Yes,
I
could
would say
see
maybe
that.
he's a hero. Maybe he's a hero, just hoarding all that direct mail that
Yeah,
nobody
I mean,
wants.
He's trying to force people into the digital age.
Yeah.
And he said he'd deliver the important stuff, so I'd really like somebody to go through my
I
mail
would-
and
I
take
would
all
too.
the crap out.
He's
Oh,
like-
money's the root of all evil. He doesn't need this.
Something
money
fun
going
happened when I checked my mail this morning. There was a hornet in my mailbox right outside my house. I reached in, I was like, nah! There was a hornet in there with my mail. I don't know. I don't remember ordering it. That's the problem.
Maybe they can't afford
Yeah.
drones right now. They're just using hornets.
Hornet mail.
Amazon's trying hornet mail right now.
Yep, that's yeah. This guy was hoarding mail. I'm getting hornet mail.
Hornet party. Now there would be a. Wonder what the prison term for that is. Hornet.
Moving on. Things were out of odor. Well, that's so dumb. Things were out of odor at a university library in Melbourne, Australia on Saturday afternoon with fears of a gas leak. But the smell that aroused suspicions was no leaky pipe. It was a notoriously stinky fruit. Around 500 students and staffers were evacuated.
I think the other word.
He is nailing it. Wow.
Well, no wonder that fruit's so sticky.
And you can buy the domain name
Quick to the enunciation cave,
evacuated.com.
Batman.
When a boy fruit is a girl fruit.
Around 500 students and staffers were ejaculating. Sorry. Evacuated.
Everybody come. Sounds like a great time. I'm ready for school, baby.
Where's this store
Let's go
at?
on to the next
Where's
story.
this store at? That's what I want to know.
Apparently, Melbourne, Australia.
Come on, mate.
Around 500 students and staffers were evacuated from RMIT University Library so that 40 firefighters, including masked crews, I'm not sure who that is, must be Tom's brother, could investigate the source of the smell, according to the Herald Sun.
Oh,
The
Jesus?
culprit, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the culprit was a durian left rotting in a cupboard. Melbourne's Metropolitan Fire Brigade said in a news release, this sort of fruit-driven flight would surprise few who have come into contact with the durian, a native of Southeast Asia with an odor that has been compared to, and I quote, turpentine and onions garnished with a gem sock, hot poop garbage, and gasoline. So apparently there's a fruit out there that you can eat that is described as hot poop garbage, which is
The favorite fruit of the wombat, as we all know.
that's cubic poop garbage
Wow.
or hot poop cubes. So,
This tastes like crap. People will buy it.
yeah, exactly. It's what are we going to call it? The DeLorean?
It's
Nope,
all
that's taken.
Take 2 or 3 of those and make a bolo.
It's Australian for fruit.
Hot poop garbage, Australian for fruit.
Oh,
That's what I was going for.
I was going, no, never mind.
Go ahead.
I was going to ejaculate by the Barbie night.
Oh, phew.
Tommy can't
Okay.
get down.
I just picture it's going to be added to some Australian mom's like repertoire now of like, you better clean out your locker. Or you might have the whole school
Find
might be
hot poop garbage
evacuated.
in there.
Hot poop garbage.
Eat your whole dinner. You're not going to get dessert. Just whatever.
Did you clean your room? Yeah, Mom, I cleaned my room. Then why does it smell like hot poop garbage?
God,
Yeah.
an Australian band.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, be sure to visit
It probably,
hotpoopgarbage.com.
and that's probably what he named. That's probably the origin story of the kid's Australian band. He grew up,
Yep.
and he's like, "Welcome to the stage, hot poop garbage."
We have a bit of a feces fascination today in the show.
It's a baby's diaper covered in curry. Sorry, Anchorman reference.
All right. Well, thanks for killing that one, Jess.
Wouldn't be the first time.
I always love. I love when I do that. When I say something that I think is just hysterical, and the whole room
Dead.
goes
Oh,
silent.
yeah.
I'm going to have to
it's
see your
wonderful.
show now that you said that you can. You're basically not saying anything that you can normally say.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
it's not even.
Yeah, this is you being clean. Holy crap!
Yeah, this is real clean.
I think that's what she was trying to say. Jess.
I take it as a compliment. Thank you.
Oh, we'll do. Hey, we got another Florida story coming up. I wonder if this is somebody else that's dead.
Beautiful.
Last one was such a hit.
Probably.
Yep. The last one was great. Authorities in Florida have arrested 3 people in connection with a brazen panty pilfering scheme that allegedly stole thousands of dollars worth of women's unmentionables. According to the Tallahassee, I'm back at it. According to the Tallahassee Police Department, Kenesha Jackson, I had no problem with that, 29 years old, and her fiance, Kobe Richardson's 47. That's quite an age difference right there. So that's
Good for him.
Yeah. Are former employees of a logistics company that packages and ships Victoria's Secret products. Beginning in November 2017, customers who'd purchased panties online from Victoria's Secret began complaining that their shipments were overdue. An internal investigation was launched in March. It was allegedly discovered that Jerisa Fry, a 25-year-old friend of Jackson and Richardson, was selling new Victoria's Secret underwear online. Photos posted by Fry show that the merchandise being offered for sale was in the same barcoded bags used by the logistics company to track items prior to shipment. The trail of plundered panties further pointed to Jackson and Richardson, police said, when it was discovered they'd been assigned to prepare the majority of the missing items for shipment. Brilliant crooks.
Yeah, that's
Let's
not
just
very
use the
smart.
same. Let's
That's
just use
not
the same.
smart.
We got to keep track of it somehow. Let's just use the same barcode. They made it really simple.
Yeah, let's just keep it brief.
Keep it brief. There you go.
Dun, dun, dun.
I like it.
Well, Holly is the queen of puns, so yeah, keep it queen.
I got nothing.
You got nothing.
No.
Yeah. You didn't get your shipments either, did you?
No,
Yeah.
no, that's what I'm saying. I got nothing.
Yep, I got nothing.
I got
I'm
no
free
pen.
balling it over.
I'm pretty much, as they call, commando right now. I'm commando,
Yeah.
flapping in the wind.
Yeah.
That's where the answer is. Laughing in the wind.
Good call. That's. Oh, I'd love having you on the show, Holly.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
Well, that's why you're such a great fit for the show.
Extremely comfort fit. Yeah.
So much for informative.
Was Holly or Adrian, were you missing shipments?
No, because I'm poor and haven't bought undergarments in a very long time. That's the
All
benefit
right.
of having everything covered up. It's a real mess under here.
All right. Well, that's the things we're learning today. Now we're back to informative.
Full circle.
Yeah. It's an important show. This is the most important show that is on this station between noon and 2 on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Word.
Yes.
Wow.
And soon to be the most important show on this station from 7 to 9 p.m. on Tuesdays.
Wow.
For reals.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool beans.
That's real talk right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't call it that.
Right? No. It's the life. I mean, that's the life.
Yeah,
Sometimes you get serious and informative, and sometimes you get cubic poop. That's really that's really the gist of it. Sometimes the life is nothing but cubic poop.
Oh, that's pretty deep.
It can be. Depends on.
It depends how many wombats you got in the room.
Yeah, sometimes cubic
How
poop
many
goes
wombats
really
does it
deep.
take to make a cubic yard of cubic poop?
We will have to have those answers next week.
Oh.
Yeah. So stay tuned. We will have the answer to how many wombats you're going to need to make a plug. Go ahead.
Thank you.
You don't
Oh,
have to
yeah.
ask. This is a free-for-all show. You just shout stuff out.
Just want to remind everyone that Legends Comedy presents a Ray Morrison production Wednesday, May 2nd, showtime at 9 p.m. at Legends. That'll be the 9th as well, and the 23rd. I was going to perform on the 23rd, but my wife's going out of town, so I'm out of I'm out of a job.
I'm glad you said that. Good.
But yeah.
Congratulations on that, because I'm doing the 23rd.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I forgot all about it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, Legends.
Take care of it.
Yes, thank you.
Also, check out the Womedy podcast. It's comedy, but with a W.
Yeah, where can we find that at? Just anywhere? Just any podcast?
Yeah, you
thing?
can. If you go to your podcasting app and you go to the little search bar, just type in Womedy podcast. Again, it's just like comedy, but with a W at the beginning of it.
It's so playful and fun.
Really good. It's very good.
I like your delivery.
Yeah, I've listened to a couple of them. I haven't been able to listen to all of them.
I mean, there's
because
only
of,
really a
time
couple of
schedule.
them so far. So
Yeah. So
That's
that's I've
90%.
listened to all of them then.
Yeah.
We'll stick with it.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any comedy shows coming up?
Yes. I don't remember the details right now off the top of my head. I think it's the 20th of May. It's in the Columbus area, a beer place, something beer. But you can check me out
All
on
we need to
social
know,
media
yeah.
at A Miller Comedy on Instagram and on Facebook. And all
All right.
details on there.
All right. Well, thanks for coming in, guys. Always a pleasure to have
Thank you.
every one of you. Every one of you are
always
just yeah.
That was great.
Would not have been a good show if it was just me. So,
Oh,
I doubt that.
well, I'd be talking to myself more than usual. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, next week, if you want to catch us live, we'll be on Tuesday, 7 to 9 p.m. There will be a repeat show if all goes smoothly with the radio technology. We will be back on as a rebroadcast of Tuesday's show on Wednesdays from noon to 2 at the usual time. So I threw too many numbers at Holly. Well, you're wearing that little you're wearing the little
visor.
Like you're wearing like one of those accountant hats. So I was kind of thinking you'd be all right with it, but I stand corrected. All right.
You know way better than that.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Tune in next week and all that. Bye. This has been the Life Radio Show on WWSU 106.9 with your host, Don Smith. The Life is also available in podcast form on iTunes, PodBean, Stitcher, Spreaker, Blueberry, and YouTube, as well as on Eventide Entertainment's podcast network. Be sure to like the Life Radio Show on Facebook, and if you have any comments or suggestions, email thelife1069@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Now get out there and enjoy some live comedy this week. You can check out wileyscomedy.com for all your upcoming shows.
The brutal presence overwhelms me. The brutal presence overwhelms me.